Hi everyone, Team GDP presenting. Today we're gonna introduce you our investment strategy with the ETF and how we did it with Python. We will go through the methodology and data, factors analysis, strategy, and conclusion. Let's start with the methodology and data. We have three assumptions here. First, the only cost is the expense ratio for ETFs. Second, the larger volumes for ETFs, the more liquidity they have. And third, use the ETFs we selected only while constructing portfolios. As for factor selection, we chose two factors, blend and liquidity. Blend factor BMS, which is big blend minus small blend. Big blend refers to the ETFs in the top 70% of the capitalization of the US equity market, while small blend are ETFs in the rest 30%. Liquidity factor is high liquidity minus low liquidity. It is assessed by the trading volume data. And here this is our regression model. We run regressions to test the coefficient for each factor. As for data, we carefully searched for ETFs in several markets and selected 14 ETFs. We used the price data from January 2016 to September 2018. After processing all the data, we moved on to test the impact that different factors have. First, the blend factor. We grouped 14 ETFs by their blend type and got 4 ETFs in the small blend group, while 10 in the big blend group. Then computed the weighted average returns for each group and used them to get our factor returns. Then we ran time series regressions by defining functions in Python, using our BMS returns as an independent variable and ETF access returns as the dependent variable. Here are our results. All the betas we got are negative, which means our BMS portfolio had a negative impact on returns. One possible explanation is that composite stocks of small blend ETFs usually have higher risk premium, and thus result in higher returns. We repeated those steps for trading volume factor. Positive betas imply positive impact on returns. ETFs with higher trading volumes, that is with higher liquidity, tend to perform better. After we verified the impacts of factors, we started selecting ETFs to construct a tangent portfolio. We found that ETFs with the most significant beta also had the largest alpha. In more detail, ETF called FYX had the largest alpha in blend factor regression, and DGRE had the largest alpha in volume factor regression. However, it could never be convincing when people talk about returns without costs. In addition to alpha and beta, we also took transaction fee into consideration. We collected the expense ratios for all the 14 ETFs and tried to construct a cost-efficient index by dividing each average return by each expense ratio. The results showed that cost-efficient indexes for FYX and DGRE were among the best, which means FYX and DGRE could offer investors the cheapest way to get exposure for the factors. So we finally chose FYX and DGRE to construct our tangent portfolio. We found out the weights that maximize the Sharpe ratio in Python. Our portfolio is allowing 1.014 unit of DGRE and shorting 0.014 unit of FYX. When we evaluated the performance of our portfolio, we plotted the returns of our portfolio, the market, and the risk-free returns. Here is the graph. We found that our portfolio performed at least same as the market portfolio, and much better than it when the market was prosperous. In addition, to test the cost efficiency of our portfolio, we calculated a portfolio expense ratio by tangent weights and compared it with the average return. The annualized average return of our tangent portfolio is 23.54%, but expense ratio is only 0.29%, which means our strategy is economically feasible. To conclude, in our project, we limited our choices among 14 ETFs and tried to construct a portfolio of those ETFs. this strategy was proven to be reasonable and feasible. Thank you for your time.